Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Serena if you guys are new here. I'm also Coffee and Goodreads over on Instagram. If you don't follow me over there, definitely go hop over there, give me a follow, and then come back and finish this video. And if you're coming from Instagram, let me know in the comments below. I'm curious to see where everybody's coming from, whether you're from Instagram or TikTok or just YouTube in general. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. And welcome to the video. We're gonna be going over my top 22 reads of 2022. These are in order from number 22 all the way up to number 1. I'm gonna be giving you my thoughts on them, the rating that I gave them, and yeah, just gonna roll through them pretty quick. So without further ado, let's get started. The first book that I have coming in at number 22, like I said, I'm going from 22 all the way to 1, is Carrie Said It Was Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book is my top Taylor Jenkins Reid book of the year if I had to rank all the ones that I read by her. This was basically the gateway to sports fiction for me, and I really enjoyed it. While I don't follow tennis very much, or at all for that matter, I found it very easy to follow what was going on. I didn't think that you needed to have like a major background in tennis to figure out what was going on. I just thought the way that this was written was also one of her better works, and it's also a newer one. I think it came out back in September, I want to say, or maybe late August. So definitely good. I highly recommend it if you're looking to get started with Taylor Jenkins Reid. This one was definitely my favorite. The next one that I have is You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. This was a romance, but it was so much deeper than that, and that's why I really was engaged the entire time that I was reading, and I loved every second of it. I just felt like I was constantly inhaling this book. I think I read it in like 2 days. It's not that big either. I think it's like this thick. I don't have my copy anymore. I actually sold it. So yeah, definitely recommend if you're looking for a romance, but deeper topics involved in that romance. The next book that I have is The It Girl by Ruth Ware. This is a mystery, whodunit, like thriller vibes. You also get a bit of dark academia in here, and I thought this was really good. Some people say it's predictable. I didn't find it to be predictable at all. Lots of twists and lots of unpredictableness, that's what I thought, but some people did say, like I said, it can be predictable. The next one that I have is Cover Story. I did the audio. Was this an audio? No, I rented this from the library. This one was not your typical like mystery thriller. I really liked the social media blogger aspect of this. She worked for a fashion magazine, I think. I read this back in like May or June. Yeah, I think it was a fashion magazine, and just totally didn't expect the ending. I think I closed the book and had to sit at my kitchen table or the counter and was like, what did I just read? Like, what did I just finish right now? I needed a second to actually process what happened. So I think I gave that one 5 stars. I thought it was amazing. I definitely recommend it if you're looking for specific like workplace mystery kind of thriller moment. Yeah, definitely recommend. Very, very good. The next one that I have for romance, now we're gonna change gears a little bit, is It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I thought this was so good. I listened to the audio of this, and I think it's dual narrator, so you have 2 narrators here to narrate both characters, and it was just really, really good. Definitely gives you all the summer vibes of Washington, Seattle, and just like Pacific Northwest, and thoroughly enjoyed this, and that's all I gotta say. I think I gave it 5 stars, maybe 4. Just amazing. Really, really good. I like Tessa Bailey as an author, so I will read basically anything by her. Next, we have this one, Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I, again, inhaled this book. I also did the audio of this book. I think I maybe flipped back and forth, but I read it over the summer and was just obsessed. Literally obsessed. It does have a similar vibe to Every Summer After. There we go. I knew I had it on my list because I read that one too. It does give a similar vibe to Every Summer After, and while it's not a bad thing, I liked this one more also because it came first, and I just felt that the characters were more relatable and believable, and I like Christina Lauren's writing a lot, so I will also read anything, literally anything by Christina Lauren. Okay, so the next one I want to talk about is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. This was one of the first thrillers that I read, and another book that I literally push down everybody's throat because it is so good. Just the twists and the turns, and I did not see anything coming in this book. It was so unpredictable for me, and another one that I literally closed my Kindle and was like, what just happened? I can't believe this. I literally had to go back and reread. That's how much my brain was like not processing what happened. So if you're looking for a good winter thriller, that's definitely one to check out. Next, we have, there's like sticky stuff here. Okay. 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I read this back in February, and I inhaled this book. This was so good. If you like books about authors or books about books, like this is your book. 5 stars, obsessed. I can't say enough about this book. I recommend it to everybody, and yeah, just read it. Just do yourself a favor and read it. Next, we have what do I want to call this? Romance that should be, like, this should be a movie, and the fact that it's not a movie yet is driving me insane. The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. Another book, another romance that I push on everyone whenever somebody asks me for a recommendation. This is it. Aaron Blackford. That's all I'm going to say about this one. And please read it. Please do yourself a favor and read it. Next, we have this book that's been going around BookTok and Bookstagram, and you can only find it on Amazon because she has self-published, which is fine, and I appreciate her publishing this book for us, is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I think it's going to be a series. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 other books coming out, and wow. This one, I was here for the drama. I was here for the romance. I was just here for this. While I felt that at times it was rather long and I could have skimmed through some of it, definitely here for it. This is your typical college hockey team, and she's an ice skater, and I love this one. It's also Reverse Grumpy Sunshine, which this was my first read of 2022, and I read this in November into December. That was a Reverse Grumpy Sunshine, which means that he's the sunshine and she's the grump. So I was so here for that. Next, we have another debut novel, and I was obsessed. Another one that I just literally, I kid you not, inhaled over like 3 days, and I had it on my Kindle and I had it on like the physical book so that I can just consume, is An Unexpected Paradise by Chelsea Curto. She is a bookstagrammer that released her first novel. I'm also pushing this down everybody's throat because so good. Romance, tension, workplace, co-workers. We just love all things about this book. 5 stars. Please do yourself a favor and read this. My camera died, so I kind of rushed that. But again, please do yourself a favor and read this one. So good. So good. The next one I want to talk about is What the Fireflies Knew. I don't remember who this is by, but I'll put a picture of the cover here. It was so good. Another one that is more than just following this little girl's journey growing up, and it's very emotional, and there's a lot of deep topics that go into this book. So please check, your trigger warnings and all that stuff before you pick this one up, because there are times where I was like, oh my goodness, like this is intense, and I couldn't imagine being a child and going through that. So definitely check it out, but it's so worth the read. It kind of gives like Crawdads vibes a little bit, but it's a lot faster than Crawdads, which is why I recommend it to a lot of people. It's got a similar, like, she lives in a marsh kind of thing, so definitely check it out. I posted a review on it on my Bookstagram, so if you want to read that first, go check that out. The next book that I have is also a series. It is not everybody's cup of tea, but I love hockey, so I picked this one up, and I actually just finished the series, which is why this video is a little delayed, because I wanted to include it in this video. Is Beartown by Frederick Backman. I loved this series. Somebody on Bookstagram recommended it to me, and So sure, like I'll give it a try. Wow, this is so much more than just hockey and the small towns and teams, and just dives into so much more than that. It tackles a lot of issues, a lot of deep, heavy, emotional topics are covered in this series, and if you're into hockey and just literary fiction, like, so stinking good. 5 stars. I have this one, and I have, where is it? Oh, it's over there. The Winners, which is the 3rd book. I did the audiobooks for all 3 of these books, and the narrator, I don't remember her name right now. She was fantastic. Amazing. Recommend the audio, recommend the actual physical copies of the books. And yeah, I can't wait to watch the show on this one. Highly recommend. Next, we are at number, I just want to count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're at the top. We just finished 9 and 10. So we're in the top 10 now. So this is number 8. Colleen Hoover, Ugly Love. I love this book. Miles, Tate, just, I have no words. Like, 5 stars. This right here was my favorite Colleen Hoover book of the year. I thought it was so good, and just read it. Like, it was fantastic. That's all I have to say on that one. Then we have The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. This was my top book of the year up until November. So this held true. This held at number 1 for 8 months. I read this book, I listened to the audio, I think back in April or May, and this is another one that I push on everybody because it's so much more than a coming of age, and you follow this girl's journey, and they live in Alaska, and the way Kristen Hanna writes, you're just emotional the whole time. That's how it goes, and while this book is super thick, like, give it the time of day. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. And the audiobook narrator, fantastic. She did a great job with this one. So 5 stars. Read it, please. I will talk about this until the day I die, honestly. The next book I'm going to talk about, and I did the audio because I didn't own the physical at the time, and I'm actually letting somebody borrow the physical book right now, is Half Blown Rose. And I feel like this book is so underrated. So underrated. It takes place in, I think it's like Paris, it's like Europe, Paris, England, France. I know she goes back and forth a lot, but if you like books that have Spotify playlists, I think every couple of chapters has a Spotify playlist because she's so into music, and it was just so good. So good. The culture and the environment that takes place in this book, you feel like you're literally there with her throughout the whole story, and I highly recommend doing the audio because you get more of the French accent and the words that are spoken in French. A lot of this book, she flips back and forth between French and just like plain English, and you don't feel like you're missing out on like what they're saying because there's a lot of context clues, and just the atmosphere that this book creates, so good. Again, I have a review. I should have a review on it. If you want to check that before picking it up, definitely do that. So good. 5 stars, 10 out of 10. Please do yourself a favor and read that one. The next series, now we are up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This comes in at number 6. And I feel like I'm gonna get some hate for ranking it so low. It's still in the top 10. It's just number 6. Is the ACOTAR series. I have the books. They're literally behind me on my shelf right now. This series, I highly recommend this series if you are just dipping your toes into the world of fantasy. Definitely start with this series. I do have to say the second book and the last book are my favorites. I think everybody's favorite is the second book, but A Court of Silver Flames and Nesta. Like, Nesta's a grump. I think I just relate more to these female grumps in the books. I don't know. I just think that the feistiness and the sass and like their stubbornness, like that's just what I like to see in a female character when I read the book. So, Court of Silver Flames, I think, I don't know if it's number 1 because I do love Farah and Rhysand. Although for most of the series I said Rhysand. I love their dynamic and their relationship, but Nesta and Cassian, it's hard to pick. But if you're dipping your toes into fantasy, definitely check this series out. Don't let the size of the books intimidate you either, because now they're available on audio, they're available on Kindle. It's just so good. and the books are usually bundled together, so you can buy the whole series if you wanted to, but you can just like piecemeal the books if you wanted to like read the first one and then read the second one and see how you. The next series that I have actually that I have read this year for the very first time, which is why I ranked it so high, because it is so magical and just so, I loved every second of it. I love academia books so much, and this series, it's so good. So I think I talked about this in one of my reading wrap-ups, like maybe it was May or June, if you want to go check that out, but the Harry Potter series, and I finally have acquired all of the books. I had a coworker that was gracious enough to actually give me the entire series. The only book that she didn't give me, I think, was definitely book 1. So I have all the books now, and they're all hardcover, and the hardcover books are expensive, and I'm super thankful that she gifted them to me. So like I said, she gave me everything except book 1. So I physically bought book 1 when I was in DC, and I'm already thinking about doing a reread of this series because it's just so good. Harry, Ron, Hermione, Ginny. I have no words. Every single book was 5 stars for me. I have like my Harry Potter ranking. Just the series as a whole was 5 stars. I want to go back and annotate and tab, absorb it all again, because I am going to Universal in April, and what had started the whole Harry Potter thing, I'll give you guys a little bit of a backstory, is that last May, I went to Disney and Universal, and Harry Potter World is in Universal. And when we went, I was the only one that didn't know squat. Like, I didn't know anything about what was going on, where we were, what I was looking at. Like, I just didn't know. So as soon as I got on a plane home, I started the audiobooks for Harry Potter. I listened to them all summer long because it took me all summer to listen to them. And I actually finished the series on September 1st, which is Back to Hogwarts Day. So I thought that was like really special and magical. And if you haven't read it, if you're like me and you're still in your 20s and you haven't read it, read it. Yeah, it's like kind of YA, but at the same time, like, just do yourself a favor and read it. Please, 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 please. Now we are in the top 3 books of 2022. These books, I had to sit on this for a little while and make sure that these were my top 3, because I read these books so late in 2022 that I was just like, oh, like, are they fresh in my brain? Like, is that why I'm putting them as favorites? But literally, I cannot recommend them enough. Cannot recommend them enough. The first one I listened to on audio, but I had bought the physical book, is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This book. If you are a fan of Greek mythology, this book is for you. This was so much deeper than men fighting in a war and the struggles around that. This goes into love, this goes into loss. I have no words. This book was beautifully written. And when you listen to it, it's just, you inhale the content because it's so good. And while I did feel that parts of it were a little slow because you have the battle planning and there's a lot of talking and just sitting and waiting for stuff to happen, everything else in this book, so good. So good. So this is number 3 of 2022. Then we have number 2. Again, this is one that I read and listened to super late in the year, so I wanted to make sure I sat on it and made sure that it was definitely top 3, top 5. Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. This romance is literally beautiful, like so beautifully written. It's almost poetic. The relationships, the whole theme of this book, he doesn't speak, so it's all sign language, and she falls in love with him. So good. I don't want to even like talk too much about it because I don't want to give it away, but this, it even says on the back of on Goodreads, it was one of the top 100 romance novels of all time. This is so good. If you have not read this book, put it on the top of your TBR. Like, literally throw it right on top and read it, because that's all I have to say. It's just so good. So good. So now, the moment we have been waiting for. Number 1. The top book of 2022 is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. If you have not read this book, if you have not listened to this book, if you have not heard of this book, another one, please put it at the top of your TBR. Please give it a read and a listen. While it's about video games and maybe like you're not into that, but you have to look some stuff up, this book literally will make you cry. Like, it was so good. The top 3 books, I think I don't know if I cried with Song of Achilles. Archer's Voice had me in tears. This book had me in tears. So good. I have a tech background and a little bit of a like gamer background, but it's just because of like tech, it's similar. The love, the struggles, the loss, just like everything around this book, so good. And it's literally just like brilliant. The way that she came up with this concept and the way she wrote about it and the twists, the turns, you don't know what's coming next. Just do yourself a favor and read this. If I can give it 6 stars, I would give it 6 stars because that's how good it is. And I will yell this from the mountaintop. I will go to my grave with this one, and Song of Achilles. Like, the 3 of them should be at the top of your TBR if you haven't read them yet. They're so good. So good. I want to already reread this and go through it and annotate it and tab it because it's just, that's how good it is. Apparently my top 5 I want to reread already, and I feel like I just read them. So that is it. That we just went through 22 books, and I hope under 20 minutes because that's a lot of rambling. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you got some recommendations out of it for books that you haven't read, and if you have read them, let me know in comments below if there's any that you have read that you agree on, that you disagree on. Just keep it nice in the comments below. I'm really curious to see what everybody else thinks of these books, and if you haven't read them, let me know which one you're looking forward to reading because I feel like there's a lot of good options here, a lot of variety, and yeah, that's it. That's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video with me. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.